Hello there, Minerealm. This is John Culminator, and today we will be making sense of Keith Call's railway idea. Now, this idea is to have a station with two or more buttons which allow the user to choose between several destinations. For example, with this we have two destinations, destination A and destination B. And to choose between these two destinations, we have these two buttons, which I have labelled this button to A, that means to go to destination A, and the other lower button to B. So to A will take you to destination A, and to B will take you to destination B. This system works by using redstone to change the direction of this curved track here. For example, to A, we'll change this curved track to lead over here, and B will change the curved track to lead here. For example, I will place my magical minecart, click on to A will lead me to destination A. And if I was to go back to the station, to B will lead me to destination B. So, how does this work? As I've already said, this uses redstone. The redstone leads to a redstone machine called a T flip-flop. What T flip-flop does is it changes state to on and off, for example, like a switch. And this switch, or T flip-flop, will feed the redstone signal to this torch, which changes the track. So, when it turns on and off, it turns this torch on and off, which changes the direction of the track, and thus the direction where you'll be going. So, how do you make one of these railway changing switches? Well, obviously, the first thing you'll need is a railway. So bear with me a second, then you'll learn how to set up the railway, or at least an example of it. And I am back with a fresh platform. We will be using platforms so that you can see and more easily understand how the redstone comes in. Now, the first thing you'll need to do is make your typical Minerealm station. For example, block, power rail, power rail. For this tutorial, we will be using different coloured redstone so you can see the redstone more easily. But before we do anything, I will change that red wall to something more visible. Say, white wall. There you go. Moving on, we make one button next to the station, like so, and another button somewhere else connecting to the rail, like so. And for decoration's sake, we will label them to A, to destination A, and to B, to destination B. Next, you construct the rails to the two destinations. So, I'm going to put a powered rail there, and a junction will be here. It does not matter where the curve goes, for the junction that is. So I have one curve which goes to destination B, and the other curve goes to destination A. So you have a curve which will change once we're done to destination B and destination A. Let's put a redstone torch here so that we actually reach the curve. To reiterate my point about the changing curve when redstone is applied to it, we will use a trusty torch. For example, the track goes towards A. If I flick it, it goes towards B. Flick it back, goes towards A. So the track is affected by redstone. But we do not want to use a lever for this function. We want the buttons to do this function. So how do we do it? First of all, we need to make the T flip-flop, as I will show you. For this T flip-flop, use one stone, and we will be using stone to separate the T flip-flop from the rest of the wiring. And we place a torch on one of its faces. Next to this torch, we place a repeater. This repeater leads to another block, and you place a stone torch on the opposite face of this block, like so. And then next to this torch, you place another repeater. You can, and we might as well, have a redstone trail leading from the on torch, another repeater on the opposite end of this particular block, and redstone linking towards it. I will also place a redstone wire heading towards this particular block so that I can demonstrate the on and off function of this T flip-flop. As you can see, the flip-flop is currently on. If I was to pulse a signal to the T flip-flop from here, then this torch comes on and the T flip-flop remains off. Now if I pulse a redstone signal here, this torch turns off, this torch as a consequence turns on, and the T flip-flop is now on again. And if I was to pulse the signal in the same place again, no change has been made. The next thing we do is link this T flip-flop from its output signal to the track. For example, I will find the curvature, I'll remove it quickly, place a block, place a torch, place another block, and place a curvature again. The torch is on, so the curvature goes towards B. And the next thing we do is link this redstone output to the torch. Now you can see that the torch is off and the curved track leads towards. I will label this input for A, to make it easier for us to see what we're doing. And I'll label the other input B, for the same reason. And now we link up button A to input A. You can do this however you like, but I'll just do whatever. And I will be back with you in a minute. And we have here the wiring for input A. So you press A and the link goes to the T flip-flop in input A. And now we do the same for B. Again, you can do this however you like. I'll do it my own way, and we'll be back with each other in a minute. And here we have the wiring for input B. For example, here the curvature is pointing towards A. And now if I am to press input B, the wiring leads to the T flip-flop. The T flip-flop is now off, so the torch is on, and the curve turns towards B. And to test that this works fully, we turn to A, we press input A again, and the curvature turns towards A. And that is pretty much it for making this railway. And what Mr. Keithcool would call Redlight, I think it was. So, what are the benefits to this? Well, If you break your minecart and place it to a different station, you also have to move the villager to a different station. That is assuming that you're moving villagers around. So, with this stop, you can press either button to take the villager to either destination without having to go through the difficulty of getting the villager back in. However, a disadvantage is the buttons get really crowded and it can sometimes be difficult to see where you're going with a particular button. So there are some pros, there are some cons. For the villager problem, this is actually somewhat useful, funnily enough. And Hippo, this is how it's done. Thank you. To test this idea's mineral worthiness, we will use a villager in a minecart to demonstrate this fantastic idea. So, spawn, and we will use a villager. And for transport, we will use a minecart. You will notice that I've randomly added a bit more cobble. This is to get the villager into the minecart. So I have the rail, I will put the villager here, and I will place the minecart here. I'll give it a push, so he gets in, push him towards the station, and then I will press 2A, and the villager will go towards destination A. Test number 2. Oh my god, I hate that villager. Test number 3. We push this friendly villager towards the station, and then, seeing as I can't seem to reach B, I'll place a button here, press it, and the villager goes towards B. This further emphasises my point about the buttons being crowded and inaccessible. And other than that, it seems to be a pretty feasible idea. Although it costs quite a fair bit of redstone if you're going to do it to every station. Thank you. And that concludes my tutorial and presentation on my interpretation of Mr. Keith Call's idea. I hope you have a cracking day, and I really do hope this presentation has been beneficial to you, at least in deciding what to do about the idea. Thank you very much, have a good day, John Culminator